Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Bruce McGowan, longtime radio sports personality. Today's show is going to be really fun because we have Jeff Greenwald to discuss, he's a sports psychologist, but that's Rascal in our studio today. We have him live, not on the phone, live in the studio. Number one in the world in tennis, age 35-year-old. And then when he was 45, number one again. When he's 105, he'll be number one again. Yeah, we're going to have him every 5 years. We're going to have him on just to make sure
I'm
about
still
that.
Going, I don't know.
I
I need a new diet, maybe.
Yeah, no, you look good though. Okay, and let's see what else here. So at every commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. We're going to be giving away vacations to the first 3 emails with the correct answer. The vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina. Vacations are free, but their only request is a $75 cleaning fee to cover the housekeeping expenses. Check them out at lighthouseresortandmarina.com. Today's trivia theme is one of my favorite subjects, baseball, and it's baseball in the movies. So these questions are a little harder than your typical,
we'll get them.
Friday the Yankees. Gee, Gary Cooper,
No problem.
No problem. You'll still get them?
We'll get them.
Okay. Piece of cake. All right. I like that. Okay, so this segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding, get this, over 8%, secured by Bay Area real estate, a few pieces of property outside of the Bay Area, but for the most part, California. And it doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. When we come back from our break, we are going to interview sports psychologist Jeff Greenwald, because he's also going to talk about the minutiae between the timing of various things. You'll understand when we get into the actual interview itself. And stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We will be right back. Okay,
Jeff, you know Brad Gilbert very well?
I played Brad, and I know him. And so we're not necessarily friends, but certainly know him.
I was going to say, you guys, because tennis is kind of a small world, so you probably have crossed paths at one time or another.
Of course, yeah. We played an exhibition actually in San Francisco Tennis Club in '98.
Okay.
So
he lives right here in Santa Fe.
I know he does.
Did you meet him?
I did.
That's why he's not friends anymore.
Actually, funny.
He's got that little tennis shop down there.
It was a funny bit.
Street.
Yeah, that was a funny match. He was not happy. I was the mystery opponent, and
really?
I'd
like to talk about a little bit about that. That's kind of fun, a little story to talk.
Yeah.
He was Andre Agassi's coach for a while, wasn't he?
That's how
coaching. I think back in the early 2000s. I remember I used to date his wife's sister, so I get invited over to their house for dinner, and that's how I got to know Brad. And I met his wife, and of course Brad, because the girl I was going out with was, the sister of Brad's wife. What a beautiful home he's got. I don't know if you've seen it. No, right up here, Santa Fe, right near Dominican College, sort of up on a little hill. And he's got a big outdoor tennis court there, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
See, that's a little easier for me. Bowling. Can you imagine putting a bowling alley in your?
That'd be kind of fun.
It would be. The White House has it.
Yeah, you said he did have a bowling. He has a bowling alley.
No,
no. He's got a tennis court though.
Tennis.
Actually, he's got 2 tennis courts because he brings. I guess he was coaching Andy Murray for a while.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Andy Murray was a guy. I don't want to get off on a tangent about this, but Andy Murray was a guy, and you probably remember this. He was just a kid. I remember there was a mass murder situation in Scotland where some guy went into a school and just wiped out a bunch of kids with a gun, and he was one of the kids that hid under a desk and survived. He was like 9 years old. Yeah.
I remember that. Story.
Yeah.
That's a good. I forgot.
Yeah.
Good trivia.
Yeah,
So
it is.
That'd be trivia. Which pro tennis player
survived the
massacre?
Yeah, massacre. Yeah.
Boy, you had nightmares from that one.
Oh yeah, he said he had major trauma and needed major psychological counseling.
Yeah, of course.
Take it out on the tennis court.
Yeah, that's why he's winning.
Yeah, maybe so.
Helps him channel that energy.
Yeah, could be.
All right, ready? Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. Now, in the studio here, we have sports psychologist Jeff Greenwald, and he's going to discuss the slimmest of margins. Now, Jeff, first of all, for the audience, if they're not familiar with you, tennis is your game.
Tennis has been my game since I was 7 and shipped off at 12 to the Bolletary Tennis Academy, when I was a kid.
Oh, you played with Nick Bolletary.
I did.
Yeah.
My parents, I said I want to be a pro, so there I found myself in a motel
Wow.
with 60 other kids from around the world. Yep.
Wow.
I know.
I guess you had the talent because they thought you're good. You have to qualify for it, don't you?
Well, they called Nick, and Nick's, well, he was. My dad actually knew him because he hired some of the pros there for some of these IBM Golden Circle events and all that stuff. So Nick said, "Sure, I'll take him. Let's see what he's got." But the guys were really good, and I was just starting to play, so it was. But it was Lord of the Flies for sure.
No, that Nick Bolletary camp, though, I mean, there have been a lot of great players that have come out of there over the years, haven't there? I mean,
Yeah. I was there with Jimmy Arias, Carling Bassett.
Oh,
from
yeah.
Canada,
Carling Bassett,
made a beer after her name, Carling Beer.
Her dad was a big brewer, I think, wasn't
Exactly.
he? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, I'm kind of curious, before we get into the specific topic of slimmest of margins, now, you were ranked number 1 in the world at age 35 and number 1 in the world at age 45. I'm kind of curious, before that, because you've been playing tennis since you were 7, what happened? I mean, you were ranked, but obviously not number 1.
Right, and I won the world championships in 45s. I didn't get ranked number 1 because I only played 1 or 2 tournaments, and they finally made it so you have to play, a number of tournaments now. But I did win it twice. But so what can I say? I mean, I was a late bloomer for one, so I developed physically a little bit later.
Okay.
And the mental game, of course, for me was I didn't know what that was back then. My mom did bring me to a hypnotist at 15, and because I was getting mad when I'd lose and I wanted to win. She said, "I'll cut my arm off if somebody can help you with this problem." So
wow.
A hypnotist tried, and I used visualization actually for many, many matches for years after that. I thought the guy was crazy, but I actually used some of that stuff.
That stuff actually works. I remember Tommy Lasorda, there's a great little story. Tommy Lasorda was once asked because one of his infielders, a guy named Steve Sachs, was having a hard time throwing the ball to first baseman. He kept throwing it over the first baseman's head, and it was driving Tommy crazy because errors were costing the Dodgers. And somebody said, Tommy, we've heard that a hypnotist might help Steve. And he looked at him kind of cross-eyed. He goes, "What do you mean a hypnotist? What the blank is a hypnotist going to do? And you think it's? I'll tell you what. We'll hypnotize you and put you under a spell. And you know something? You won't be a better blinking writer anyway." Just went off on a
But
tangent.
how did they get Steve Sachs out of that?
I don't know. They didn't use
I
hypnotist.
think he had to walk the ball to first base.
Yeah, that's probably it. There you go.
I can get the yips out there
Oh,
sometimes.
boy.
The nerves take over. Yeah.
Well, that's going to happen in tennis, too.
It absolutely does on the serve, big situations. Wimbledon, Nevada, a number of players had that.
Yeah, what was her story with Yana Novotná? Because she was like one of the best, but then she would get to the championship. One year, I think it was one particular match, I seem to remember it. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think it might have been against Steffi Graf or one of the big stars, and she just collapsed.
Up, I think 5-1 in the third set.
Yeah.
So when you have a lead, this is actually the number one problem that people complain about. If you ask them in the mental game, they say closing out a lead, I just crumble. I just don't know what to do.
Satan gets in there and says, "Now you're going to screw it up."
You're almost there, baby.
Yeah.
But
I mean, what did Greg Norman?
Yeah.
The Shark. I mean, it took him a long time to finally win.
Well, it's interesting with the individual sports, like auto racing or golf or tennis or boxing, where the person is, you really are isolated. So you can't depend on your teammates so much. Maybe a coach can help you out, but there's not going to be anybody on the field of play that's going to have your back. You're really kind of out there on an island, aren't you?
With your own worst enemy, your brain. So you're battling it out.
Yeah. Good point. So our topic, we were going to talk about the slimmest of margins and that sort of thing. Why don't you talk about, because I saw Jeff at the gym, and he happened to have tennis on. We just happened to be talking about this. This would be kind of a neat show to talk about this.
Well, we were talking. It's interesting when you really break it down in terms of, we see these athletes who are just on top of their game. They're amazing, and people watching can't believe they're playing that well under pressure. And, you think they're just some Greek god, and, in a way they are, but they're doing some of the things that, just so well, and they're able to focus at the right time on the important points, right, under pressure. But one stat, Federer, in his best run, 4 years straight, number 1 in the world, going away, he was winning about 56% of the points.
Wow.
That's it.
That's all.
But you get over 50%. You look at a lot of these matches that, you're going to the finals. I mean, they're 3, 4, 5 points, and of course the big ones. But Rafa Nadal wins 8 French Opens in a row. He's going on his 9th, and he was winning about 58% of the points.
Wow, that's all.
But the break points.
Yeah, those are the ones that count.
90%. He's winning the big points.
Because he's got the tough attitude and the focus.
The confidence
Yeah,
to
the
do it.
confidence. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was just interesting when you start to see those marginal gains, and you just ask you if everybody could do just a little bit better, and just how the slimmest of margins makes the difference.
Well, I was mentioning that a friend of mine was a bronze medal winner. We had him actually our very, very first show on Sports Econ 101. He was our guest, Paul Kingsman, and he was bronze medal winner in the backstroke in the '88 Olympics. And in his situation, he got third place by 3/100ths of a second. And the only reason he didn't lose it, because number 4 had looked over twice at him.
Yeah,
while he was going.
can't do that.
Can't do that, and that the slimmest of margins on that. And so my friend got the medal, and this poor Russian guy, which I don't know, hopefully he made it back to Russia in one piece, didn't get it. And 3/100ths of a second.
It's separated by just inches and points and so and what I do, what I hear, it's the nerves and the negative thoughts and the doubts, right, that come in. And like Djokovic was 3 in the world. You got Federer and Nadal ahead of him, and he said the thing that did it for me, one of the main things, is that I stopped taking my thoughts so seriously. So he actually would be able to let him go. Like if he was thinking, I don't know.
Put a little bubble around him and let him float. I was always told, let him float away.
Exactly.
It's almost like figuratively
It's
doing
almost
that.
like it's almost good sometimes to be the underdog, because you say, you know what, I'm expected to lose,
Right.
so I can go out there and try my hardest
and let it go.
Yeah.
And let it go. But just being able to really, at the end of the day, embracing pressure. I mean, you got to want to be there in that moment, right? A lot of people, the mortal is sort of, just get me out of here. This is too much, and it feels too.
Be the opposite.
But you want
the big stage.
Edward wants to be in the show, baby. Right?
Well, I was just thinking about tennis. I mean, it is such a great one-on-one battle, and the two matches that always stand out to me: 1980 Bjorn Borg against John McEnroe finals. I think it was Wimbledon, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I seem to remember Federer playing Nadal. And that was kind of the passing of the torch, and I believe that was at Wimbledon, wasn't it?
It was that famous fifth set tiebreaker, one of the best epic matches of all time, rivaling the Rafa Fed final.
Was that where I'm trying to remember that one? Was it like the volley went on for?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it was I believe it was 17-15 in the tiebreaker I think it was the 4th set.
And Nadal won it. That was kind of the passing
No, I
of
was
the
thinking
torch.
about the McEnroe.
Oh, the McEnroe Borg one. That was kind of a passing of the torch, because Bjorn Borg had been, I think, a 4-time winner. McEnroe started to take over, and same thing with Nadal. That was the passing of the torch from Federer to Nadal.
You know what? I think it's all staged. What happens is they talk ahead of time, and they go, "Listen, tennis is on its way down. This is the one way to bring it back up."
Oh, like World Wrestling Federation, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying it's all rigged?
It's all rigged.
Fix!
Okay.
I never forget a friend of mine's dad. We were at a game once, and the local team, the Cal Bears, scored a touchdown in the final play, and everybody's going crazy. He's looking at us with a smile on his face. I said, Dr. Mayer, why aren't you happy about this? You're a Cal alum. Fix!
That must have been the play with the Stanford band.
No. He thought it was a fix, though. He seriously did.
Did he?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to cut to our first commercial break here. Here's the theme of baseball in the movies. All right. In the movie Mr. Baseball, Tom Selleck, his character goes to Japan because a rookie played by a real-life major leaguer takes his first base spot. Who was that player?
Oh, good question.
All right, so if you remember Mr. Baseball,
I've got that
Tom
tape,
Selleck?
too. I've got that
Right.
somewhere at home.
Okay, so let's see here. Tom Selleck's player, his character, goes to Japan because a rookie played by a real-life major leaguer takes his first base spot. Who is that player? And I think this is the only movie this guy's ever been in. All right, I can't remember how good a job he did. All right, stay with us. We are in the studio here with Jeff Greenwald, sports psychologist. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Stay with us. We will be right back.
I'm trying to remember who that was. Can you remember?
Which one?
The guy the major league player?
You've heard of him.
I'm not going to get it.
Is it a well-known name?
Yeah.
Is he still playing?
No.
Was he a young player when he was?
I don't remember how old the movie was.
Latin guy or black guy?
Black guy.
Black guy. First baseman.
Yep.
Was that his real position?
I don't think so. I think it was no. I think he was one of those. As you get older, you end up being first base.
All-star kind of player. Great player?
Yeah.
Not a Hall of Famer, but a great player.
You know what? he may be in the Hall of Fame.
Wow. Well, I am stumped. I'm going to let you. So he just had a cameo role in it. Then.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a good movie. I like Mr. Baseball.
Yeah, I like that with Mr. 3000 too. That was kind of with Bernie Mac.
Yeah. Poor Bernie Mac. He had some kind of weird heart disease, right?
Must have.
Yeah, he was only 47.
Also, like when Stuart Scott died.
That was heartbreaking.
Love that guy.
He was great. Nice man too.
What do you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about?
Being in the zone.
That's always fun to talk about.
Just basically, what do you tell me?
Yeah. It's part of the marginal gains, actually, a little bit. So.
Okay.
Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host. We have Bruce McGowan in the studio, of course, as my co-host. We also have Jeff Greenwald, sports psychologist, as our guest. But let's go to the trivia contest question. In the movie Mr. Baseball, Tom Selleck's player, it was not Bob Uecker, but Tom Selleck, his character goes to Japan because a rookie played by a real-life major leaguer takes his first base spot.
And I don't have the answer to this, but from what you have told me, this guy actually was a pretty good player.
He was very good.
And this is the only movie he ever actually had a cameo role in.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay, I am clueless.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of hints.
Okay.
You would remember him from playing with the Chicago White Sox.
Okay.
And the Oakland A's.
Chicago White Sox. No, he was a first baseman.
Well.
Frank Thomas.
Frank Thomas.
Right.
Wasn't he an outfielder before?
He was a first baseman.
Was he always a first baseman?
Pretty much,
I remember.
He might have played a little bit. But I always remember he was a first baseman DH.
Yeah, Frank Thomas.
Nice guy.
Yeah, very nice guy.
Great player. He's in the Hall of Fame.
I think he just made it.
I think you're right.
All right, so Jeff, we are talking to you because you are a sports psychologist. First of all, I don't have any couches here, which I'd like to lie down on and ask you some questions as a psychologist.
You can do it sitting down.
I can do it sitting down. Okay. Doctor, can you help me? Do people call you doctor?
No.
Okay.
I'm a psychotherapist. Emphasis psycho, right?
Psychotherapist.
So, Mr. Psycho, can we?
That's okay. Listen, as long as you help.
But I'm a recovering psycho. So.
Exactly. They just call me Mr. Placebo. But, okay, so when people come to you, you're a sports psychologist. What kind of does that mean? And
Sports psychology consultant is my technical title, but
okay. All right. Okay. And we were talking about slimmest of margin. So I'm thinking some people might come to you for exactly what we were talking about, where it's like, gee, I just can't close this thing out. How do I get over the hump? What else do people come to you for?
Frustration, feel like they're not measuring up to their expectations, which is very common, right? They feel like they could be better, they're playing better in practice is probably one of the biggest ones too, right? They're better, they know they're better, but then in the competition they just melt down, they get nervous, get angry, whatever.
Do you deal with kids too?
Quite a bit.
Okay, so the kids probably behind the scenes probably say, God, my mom and dad, they're just driving me crazy. They force me into doing such and such.
I wish they'd throw them under the bus like that and actually come clean, but they don't really know. So a lot of times they don't really get, they're supportive, but the parents are they have the high expectations a lot of times, and the kids feel it, but they don't think hey, well, my parents are better than those parents, because they see some other parents who are maybe, but
it's the parents who are sending them to the sports.
Correct. So they call. So that's the whole thing, right? So then I have to, make sure that they know what we're doing and why we're doing it, right? But the parents, but 80% of parents do a pretty good job. I mean, truthfully, it's the 20% actually. Research shows that it can really mess it up, and they mess it.
Those are the kind of when we go to a soccer game or a baseball game, and they're in the fans
screaming at the sidelines, and the kids looking over to go kick the ball, go for the goal, and the kids like, what the heck is going on? And all distracted, making them play worse.
I'll never forget. A friend of mine played high school soccer, and he said his dad used to show up and shadow him down the sidelines. Boot it, and all the kids and all the parents and all the coaches wondered, who is this guy? They finally had to tell him to stay away from the games.
It's an awful.
Okay, now I'm not that bad, but I've got a confession to make. Since we were talking psychology here, okay, so I used to be assistant coach for my daughter's softball team, and my daughter's good now. She's a senior, so she's the best one on the team and all that. And I don't run down first base with her and all that, but when she's up the bat, I'll remember, keep your elbow up a little bit.
We've got medication for you, man.
Yeah.
You may not be able to get this done today.
She'll look at me sometimes, and it's not so much for me with her, but it's like she wants to make sure that I don't make any comments about other players, which I can completely
They get so
understand.
self-conscious, right? I mean, kids will be saying, and you know, we can think we're doing a pretty good job, but they're scared the moment you step foot out of the car. They're thinking they want to please parents. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's we put pressure on them.
But you know what's so funny, seriously, is like, and I've talked with the other coaches about this. Like, I mean, on our team, we had a team one time where the girls were really good, and I think there were 4 of us, right? You know, we had the manager, and then there was 3 of us, like assistant type coaches, and we get into like the championship, and we were the ones who were nervous. The girls, I mean, they're in 7th and 8th grade. I mean, they're just playing, you know, they're trying.
Well,
hard
you have no control over the situation. Really, I mean, you do, but you don't. You
Right.
can't. You know, you can't really affect what's going on.
No, but you'd think that the girls would have been nervous, like, you know, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and they're just up there like it's just like any old at bat. Don't they know how important this is?
And I may be wrong when I say this, but I think in general, I've talked to, and you know, our guest could confirm this for me. Maybe I'm completely off base, but it's been my experience. I haven't covered a lot of women's sports, but women just seem to be a little calmer, a little more rational, and seem to have a little better perspective. Because with rare exception, most of them don't look at it as the end all be all like guys do. Because there's only a handful of sports where women, you know, tennis is one of them, where women are really in a high profile situation. Isn't that true?
What we're seeing now, though, is the expectations and perfectionism is showing up in a big way. So girls are being so sensitive with the expectations.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of wanting to please others, and so tennis, in particular, can be tough, and they take things really personally. So the men can get, you know, be angry and have it be okay, but so girls are struggling with that. But certainly the girls are, you know, a little tamer in general, but they internalize more than boys can just get it out and be aggressive. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You can say about the guys, but you know, I remember my son's t-ball team. I mean, they're 7 years old. And they don't understand how important this is. They're taking it like it's fun. It's not fun.
Well,
It's serious.
I don't know
supposed
what
to be fun.
pockets. I don't know what pockets you're playing in, but the playgrounds I'm seeing these days are these kids are coming in. At least, of course, I have a select group of people who come find me, and they're feeling the pain, they're feeling the pressure, and they want to get into college. And you know, I had just one aside here. One dad come in, and he said, "So Jeff, can you help my son? He's playing baseball, basketball, football, and now we got him trying water polo. He's resisting water polo. What do you think's going on? Can you help him?" I said, "Well, but just by the way, how old is he? He just turned 8."
Oh,
Oh, no,
jeez.
I said, "Can you?" I said, "I think I should see you and your wife for a few visits before
Good.
I see him."
Did you
I
say
never saw him again, of course, but you know
Wow.
that happens. You know,
That's a shame a parent would do that to a child. Though.
Well, I mean, I understand it. I mean, I'm hearing this part, and I go, "Oh my goodness gracious!" But I maybe if it's all at the same time, that'd be ridiculous.
Well, that I'm telling you, he was all going on at the same time.
Unbelievable.
Okay,
8
that's
years
a little
old.
ridiculous.
Kid probably had no life.
Exactly.
No
The dad,
friends.
you know, and then you get the dad, you know, parents can be living through. That's where we get the
absolutely.
vicarious thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, one of the things my daughter used to say is, you know, Mom, your schedule, and it wasn't. I mean, Eva was really good,
Mm-hmm.
but just in general, like for summer, it's like stop scheduling all this stuff for me.
I
Let
want
me
some
have
free time with my buddies.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, kids. I mean, when we were again, it's a cliche, but when we were kids growing up, your parents used to throw open the doors and say, "Go out and play."
That's
and we'd
it.
be gone all day. We'd play our games, and
Come home when the lights come on.
yeah, nowadays it's like play dates are arranged, and you know, summer camp is arranged. I'm not saying kids don't have a good time today, but it just seems like everything is so much more organized. So I could see kids being a little bit more uptight.
Uptight. If they strike out, if they feel like they lost the game, I mean, you know, they just feel like they're failures. I mean, this very fixed mindset is just so. Is so pervasive right now.
Yeah.
If you fail, I mean, you lose a game, you strike out, you fail. There's no like
You're a failure.
You know,
Yeah.
as much as I'm, you know, competitive, and you know, I kind of kid around here about, you know, my feelings, and I'm a little bit serious on
you're a
this stuff.
sensitive guy too.
I'm sensitive, but that's the thing. It's like, I would tell the girls, I said, listen, if you swing and miss, you know, even on a bad pitch, that doesn't really bother me. I said, but getting called out on third strike, that just drives me bananas.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather you swing on a pitch in the dirt.
Right.
You know, and
Go down swinging.
Go
as
down
they say.
swinging, be
Exactly.
assertive, absolutely. It's hard to watch that, you know, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
And then, of course, it's how do you talk to the kids about this afterwards? It's such a big deal, right? What do you say? What do you not say? All that stuff.
but no, you would have been very proud of me.
Yes.
The last few games, Sarah was literally hitting a home. I mean, this was the year that she's really come out. And she's been hitting home runs and triples and all this stuff. And then she faced somebody who was a little bit of a faster pitcher, which normally she likes. But this time, for whatever reason, I guess because the other game she was facing someone who was so easy that, she struck out. But she struck out swinging. She had a great swing, and she just missed. And it's like, okay, gee, you know what? When I watched, Willie Mays used to strike out too once in a while, and he was a pretty good player too.
Wow.
So I
can see
think
you're feeling better already.
I am.
This is working.
Yeah,
This is working.
Don't send me a bill.
Well, it's interesting. What you have to do also, I would think, is I would imagine, because I've heard athletes talk about this all the time. When they're going good, they don't think too much. That Michael Jordan used to talk about it a lot, getting into the zone. And he would just visualize every ball going in, and it would go in. And I guess that's the key, is not to think too much. And that's hard to do, because we human beings are creatures of habit. We analyze and overanalyze.
Well, you say things slow down.
You bet. You guys got it nail on the head.
Yeah.
Exactly. And because those thoughts come in, it's and again, you come back to Djokovic, and he's just dominating right now. But he talks about how what he's done, and I teach this a lot to people, is get into your sensation. You cannot have a thought and feel your feet on the ground at the same time. If you're really feeling your feet on the ground, if you're feeling the racket, the grip in your hand, the ball in your hand, you cannot have a thought at the same time. It's impossible.
Wow. Really? Okay, so stay with us. We'll continue with that thought in a minute, because I thought that's really cool. Okay, we're going to cut to our second commercial break here. The studio says, hey, you got to cut to a break when you got to cut to a break. So, hard breaks. All right, here's the second trivia question. In the movie The Natural, Robert Redford's character, Roy Hobbs, returns from a hospital stay to play in a final game for the New York Knights. In his last at bat, he breaks his famous Wonder Boy bat on a foul ball. What are the words on the bat that the Bat Boy brings him? Okay? You got that question? All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Let me ask the question one more time. In the movie The Natural, Robert Redford's character, Roy Hobbs, returns from a hospital stay to play a final game for the New York Knights. In his last at-bat, he breaks his famous Wonder Boy bat on a foul ball. What are the words on the bat that the Bat Boy brings him to replace that bat? Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
Something express, something weird. That was an interesting movie, because they had so many different figures that sort of represented, they had the guy that owned the team was a one-eyed owner who lived most of his life up in this little tower overlooking the stadium, and then you had the bat that was taken off the tree that fell down and killed the guy's dad when he was a kid. I mean, that was an interesting movie. And you had remember the woman in black who wanted to kill Roy Hobbs, and she shot him.
That's how he gets the
what was the name of that actress? The dark-haired gal. And then he gets Glenn Close as his girlfriend. He ends up with her, the golden-haired maiden.
Hey, real quick, sorry to interrupt. So I have a 5 o'clock client back in Corte Madera. So I probably need 14 minutes from here to get to my, so it's 4:37.
Okay.
Probably need, I probably got 8 minutes here.
Okay.
Push it.
What I'll do is I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll say, hey,
gotta go.
Thank you. Yeah, you go like this, and I'll just say, okay, Jeff, thank you very much.
The kid thing's great, by the way. That's going to be my weekly show. Is going to be raising resilient athletes.
Oh, that's good.
Every Thursday I'm going to do a thing in tennis primarily, but
here in the county,
and I'll get you on too. I'd love to.
We'll let you pitch that. Okay.
Yeah.
There. Okay. Here we go. Well, welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. When we got to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. In the movie The Natural, Robert Redford's character, Roy Hobbs, returns from a hospital stay to play in a final game for the New York Knights. In his last at bat, he breaks his famous Wonder Boy bat on a foul ball. What are the words on the bat that the Bat Boy brings him?
Something like Panama Express, and he hits a home run with it. And hits it, knocks the lights out of the stadium.
But that's not the name of it. It is 2 words.
Yeah.
Savoy Special.
Savoy Special.
Savoy Special.
That was an interesting movie because it was filmed in the old Buffalo War Memorial Stadium where the Bills used to play. And that was an old minor league ballpark, just a classic, backdrop or bird.
Perfect.
You are an encyclopedia. I
Oh,
know.
yeah, he knows.
My
And
wife
baseball.
keeps telling me I should go on the what is that
Jeopardy?
show? Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Baseball Jeopardy.
Baseball Jeopardy. I could do
Okay.
that. But
That's
not,
awesome.
yeah.
We have in the studio Jeff Greenwald, who's a sports psychologist. Tennis is his specialty, but he does other things. Now, what are you working on now?
I have a radio show starting next Thursday called Raising Zillion Athletes. So I'm excited to get on some great hosts. Stanford, former Stanford tennis coach, Dick Gould, 5-time NCAA champion for one, and others. So excited for that to start. Yeah.
Excellent.
So-
Okay. I know you want to give me last words of encouragement here to our listeners, because I know you have to run out of here.
Well, no, we were just talking about the zone, the idea of overthinking. I think that's a really important and interesting area the idea of how do we get out of our head and all this, because everybody knows, I'm too in my head, but this idea of being in your, feeling sensation. Again, Djokovic and others have figured out how to sort of have the perception that time's slowing down. And, so by having, by focusing your attention on a physical sensation, you can't have a thought. It's an amazing thing, and when you're up at bat, that's pretty helpful,
Oh boy.
I just one last thing.
Yeah.
How can I dunk a basketball?
Oh, that's good. I think we need to stretch those arms. We need to get a bar in here.
Yeah.
That's right.
Stretch down a little bit.
I'll stand on Bruce's shoulders.
There you go.
Because people sometimes call me a shrink. I tell them, no, I'm a stretch.
I
like that.
I actually can dunk. Well, I can't anymore, but I could dunk the basketball once in a great while. But I should be able to. I'm almost 6'6".
Jeez.
So there are guys 5'10" that can dunk the basketball. So if I can't dunk the basketball or couldn't, back in the day I was really hard on
I
myself.
started off dunking a marble, and then I moved to a golf ball.
There you
That
go.
was it. After that, I couldn't
Couldn't do the basketball.
Yeah, now I can
That
barely touch the net.
That summarizes the marginal gains. A little bit here, a little bit here,
That's it.
right? Moving steps, right?
Yeah. It's like this lady who's an Olympic lifter. She started off lifting a calf that was really little, and then she would just do squats with it, and she did it every single day for like a year or something. Eventually, the thing weighed 500 pounds, and she was still able to do it.
And the calf didn't mind.
The calf didn't mind.
Probably enjoyed it.
Well,
Never went to sleep.
seriously now. Okay, so when I started kind of getting back into the gym, I was watching guys do pull-ups. I go, man, that's really kind of cool. And so I could barely do one.
That's tough to do.
It is, but you practice and practice,
Sounds
try to
good.
keep the weight up.
Yeah.
And the most I got up to was, I think, like 16 or 18.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Don't give up, Edward.
Not too bad for a man
Still
at
in sight.
85.
Exactly.
Never.
Looking good. Good to see you guys. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me, Edward.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Good seeing you, man.
Okay, so that was Jeff Greenwald, sports psychologist. All right, so let's move on to a minute here. So I don't know if you read this recent article. Jeff Samardzija stayed in hotels when he played for the A's instead of renting.
That's right.
And his salary is about $10 million a year.
You know why?
Well, some people say, because he was in the last year of his contract. And
He wasn't coming back to Oakland no matter what. He didn't want to invest in a house and have to go through the whole thing of buying it and selling it. A smart guy.
No, but you could rent a house.
You could, but I think he liked the idea of a hotel because of the service that you can get. You can get room service. You don't have to. You don't have to do your laundry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just basically like being a big kid again.
And half the season you're away.
Yeah.
But
Now, and I'm not sure if Jeff has a wife or kids. If you have a wife and kids, and a lot of these athletes, they live in one town, they play in another, and then they're on the road, so they don't see their families very much. I don't know how they do it. Baseball is very, very. They say something like 50% of all baseball players who get married end up getting divorced. It doesn't surprise me in the least.
Because even football, shorter season.
Shorter season, and you're only away for the weekend, and it's only 10 weekends a year.
That's
it.
Right.
Now, basketball's a little different. There's 82 road trips, but 82 road games, but you're not away, for days at a time. You're maybe 3 or 4 days, maybe once in a while. But
Well, when you were doing a lot of sports casting
Yeah.
around, but you were single though.
well, I wasn't, and then I met my wife, but I didn't travel that. I've been on maybe 6 or 7 trips a year. The longest I went on was like 10 days.
Okay.
So I was away from home for 10 days, and my wife was not, actually she was pleased that I was away for 10 days.
That's the kind of wife you wanted.
Yeah.
Only had time.
Yeah, exactly. God, he's away for 10 days. I love it. Ooh, we're gonna party.
Day,
Yeah.
exactly. It's funny, and I'd have to actually look this up, and maybe if we get an accountant to, I haven't looked it up, so I want to see if someone can just send it to me. I wonder if the traveling expenses versus the non-deductible personal residence would be deductible. So if Samardzija, let's say he, claims that he lives somewhere else, right? Because he's not
Right.
living. You can't really technically live in a hotel, technically, if you especially keep traveling to different hotels.
Right.
So he doesn't really have he doesn't have a commute.
Can't you say, though, that my permanent residence, at least temporarily, is the hotel? I mean, Al Davis used to
Well,
live in
no,
a hotel.
you wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want to because then you could not deduct the staying in the hotel.
The staying in the hotel, I
versus
see.
if he rents someplace that's going to be considered his personal residence and he couldn't deduct it.
Are you required by law to have a permanent residence?
But you know what? I think you are, but he could have claimed anything, really.
One of his old homes or
yeah,
something.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And so I thought,
Interesting.
you know what? Maybe his accountant said, "Hey, here's a way you can kind of deduct," and it probably didn't cost him quite as much because if you're renting a place, you are renting it whether you're there or not.
Sure.
Versus if you're traveling around, you're only going to pay for the hotels. But, I mean, if you're traveling on the road, the team picks it up.
Team picks up everything. Everything.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, a guy like Samardzija, too, he was making good. He still is making very good money, $12 million a year. You probably keep half of that right off the top. So I don't think he's hurting too much.
No, someone commented that the way he pitched last night, though, he should be renting a tent.
Was he? And I didn't hear about what he did.
He didn't do so well. He got knocked out of the box on opening day.
Not good.
Not too good.
Maybe the A's had a reason for getting rid of him. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, and the Panda's first game, he was
0 for 5.
Strikeouts.
Pablo Sandoval, the former Giant, who was beloved here in the Bay Area. I mean, everybody wears Panda hats, and he's such a likable guy that he decides to leave the Bay Area after winning 3 rings to go to Boston. But there's a reason for that. And that wasn't the money. It was that his family, he's closer, I guess, to Venezuela when he lives in Boston than he is when he's in San Francisco. Because his family, some of them live in Miami. So there you go. That makes sense.
Also, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Okay, if I'm Panda, I've already won 3 World Series here, and it's kind of fun. But Boston's a really cool.
Oh, if you win at Boston,
or just to play in Boston.
Well, now they've won 3 World Series too. I mean, not in a shorter period of time. Will they win another one with Panda there? That remains to be seen. I know he and David Ortiz just get together wonderfully, get along together wonderfully, I should say.
And I wonder how long David's going to hang around.
As long as he DHs, he can probably play another year or 2. He's been singularly fortunate for a big guy. Usually they have injuries. He hasn't had any major injuries.
But is Panda going to be? I mean, isn't he kind
now
of?
That's the big question. I think that the Panda takes over eventually for Ortiz, but Panda's not even 30 years old. And I saw some pictures of him during spring training. He put all that weight back on.
Yeah, see, that was the concern the Giants had, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's been a problem with him in his career. You get over 30 and you're carrying 40, 50 pounds, that's not good.
No, if you don't hit a home run, you're going to be hitting a lot of singles.
He is an amazing athlete, though. I mean, he's a great third baseman. He's a great hitter. He's a smart hitter. If he just took some weight off and got himself in shape, imagine how good I'm not saying he'd be that much better, but he wouldn't get hurt.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Well, a lot of these guys, Prince Fielder's the same way.
Yeah, but the thing is, he was always big to begin with. His dad was big. I think he could certainly lose some weight. But Panda, if you stand up next to him, he's only 5'10", 5'11". He's about 250 pounds. He looks like a little plug.
That's a lot of weight for.
That's a lot of weight. I weigh 220 and I'm 6'6".
Yeah.
So
I'm 192, but I'm about 6 foot.
Yeah. So I mean, the Panda's 250 at 5'10" or 5'11". That's not good. No.
I mean, at least playing third base, he doesn't have to run too much, but in the box, you do. But.
Boy, he is a great fielder, though. I'm telling you. He may not be Gold Glove, but he made some plays last year. Without him, the Giants maybe don't win the whole thing last year. I think that's not only possible, it's probable.
And then how long is Hunter Pence out with?
Hunter Pence is out for about a month.
And that wasn't it spring training?
Spring training got hit. Got hit in the forearm and broke his wrist.
Boy, that's got to be frustrating.
And
I know it wasn't on
swing.
purpose.
You can't take any practice swings either. You can't get in the cage and work out while you're healing. That's the toughest part.
Or just the idea of getting hurt in spring training versus in the World
you knew it was
Series.
going to happen though. I mean, he played every game, and it's just like those are the guys that end up getting hurt. The guys that are the most durable. All of a sudden, whoa, they're hurt.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Now, 41-year-old Ishiro Suzuki, he signed for $2 million with the Marlins.
That surprises me that he signed such a cheap deal. On the other hand, maybe there weren't that many takers. He is 41. He's not the player he used to be. That guy can still rake, though. He is a hell of a hitter. I remember watching him his first year here. He was 29-year-old rookie. And I went to a series up in Seattle with the Giants, and he had something like 8 hits, made some great catches. And I just thought, wow, he was something else. And he's going to go to the Hall of Fame.
I was going to say, he'll probably be a first ballot.
No question. Yeah. Interesting guy, too, because you go up to him in the locker room or the clubhouse before the game, and he would do these. He would get into these Zen modes where he just would block out everything, and he'd get into one of those, stances where he would just not be moving, and you'd think, what's going on with this guy?
A horse?
Yeah, pretty much things like that. Yeah, yoga moves, and he was so pliant. I mean, he could bend. You know how some people can bend backwards and do that arch?
Yeah.
He could do that without any problem at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me and my family, we're all we can't bend
do that?
anything. Yeah.
I have a hard time picking up a nickel on the ground.
Yeah,
So,
bend the elbow. It's even harder.
Yeah,
It's just very, very tight, even no matter how much we stretch.
Yeah.
Did you also read about Bob Costas wanting to shorten the season back to 154 games with more playoff games, like in the wild card in the division?
I heard that. I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, make the playoff games more important. Give them, give them a little more cachet. And how many regular season games do you have to have? What's wrong with 154? It was good enough for 100 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Because also, like you said, you have more playoff games, so there'll still be enough money.
Yeah.
And you can still have the time. Wouldn't really probably change too much.
No, it wouldn't change too much.
Games,
You'd have the extra games that would attract more attention. The playoff games would make, this one and done wild card thing is kind of fun. I mean, last year the Giants beat the Pirates and the A's got beaten by Kansas City, and they were both great games. But I'm not sure if it's really fair. You play 162 games, and your whole season comes down to one game. Then again, you're a wild card team.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're lucky to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay. So we're going to cut to our third commercial break here. Dave's going fast.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we are talking about baseball in the movies. This was actually probably an easy. I shouldn't have asked this one. It's too easy. In the movie Field of Dreams, what ballpark does James Earl Jones' character Terrence Mann go to as a youngster growing up? You know that one, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I figured that was an easy one. What California-born? Oh wait, hold on. I actually mixed two of them together here. Okay, so here's our question. In the movie Field of Dreams, what ballpark does James Earl Jones' character Terrence Mann go to as a youngster growing up? Yeah, that's right. I'll bet you like that movie.
I love that movie. If you build it. Love that.
And who's the he?
Yeah, that's.
It wasn't Abel.
No, you know who was? It was Joe Jackson.
Oh, that's right.
Joe Jackson.
Yeah. Poor Joe.
Shoeless Joe.
Still should have been in the Hall of Fame.
Should have been.
All right. So when we come back, Sports Econ 101 will have some closing comments, and we'll answer that trivia question.
Sounds good
to you?
Sounds good.
All right. Stay with us.
All right.
Take the last 8 seconds. Okay.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Jeff, she's a real nice guy. How'd you guys know each other?
Just from the gym.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So he's probably about your age, right?
He's 40, either 46 or 48.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
48.
not far from where you
Yeah.
are. You just turned 50, right?
No, 55.
55.
55.
55.
I'm
Yo,
55.
I ran into Al Endress, who's my old baseball coach.
Uh-huh.
Al is I didn't realize Al was 88 years old.
Wow.
And he looks great. He survived cancer. 5 years ago, he had esophageal cancer. The doctor gave him a year to live. But he's this incredibly gifted, physically gifted athlete. I mean, you look at him now, he's old, but he looks like a guy maybe in his early 70s.
Wow.
And,
For 88, doesn't
and his eyes are sharp. His walk, he stands up straight. He walks, without a slouch.
How's his voice?
Very strong.
Really? With esophageal cancer?
Well, it was further down. It didn't affect his vocal cords. But he told me, I was telling him a story about my wife because I ran into him on the street about a week ago. He says, you just tell your wife, stay positive. He says, one thing that helps me, and he pulls out these rosary beads. He goes, I'm a Catholic. Says, I pray every night. I said, yeah, faith, I think, is a good thing for some people. It really does help.
That positive thinking there.
Yeah, it helps to kind of reaffirm things. I wish sometimes I was more spiritual and religious, but unfortunately I'm an agnostic like my parents. That's just the way I would.
Being raised is, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Listen, I was raised Jewish, and
you were right.
And I actually feel more Jewish now, accepting Christ. Believe it or not. Some people
Interesting.
go, "Oh my God, you turned your back on the faith." I got a friend who basically, you went to the dark side.
That's funny.
It's funny, yeah.
Interesting.
But I said,
Is your wife Jewish too?
No.
She's Catholic?
But she was brought up Catholic, but
Okay.
she's born again Christian.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend for years whose mom was Jewish. I'm sorry, dad was Jewish, mom was Catholic, and so she went to both.
Yeah.
And she was just a mess of contradictions. God, yeah, a nice gal, but she's just very smart. But
But you know what? It shouldn't be It's funny because when you
it shouldn't be. It's all the same.
The Old Testament basically talks about prophecies
Yeah.
and all that, and the New Testament is fulfilling those prophecies.
Yeah.
So it's really a connection.
There is. They don't see it that way though.
Yeah, no.
They get too full of pride. And,
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's pride.
It's pride. That's 100% of what it is.
Yeah, that's what tears people apart in different religions. They can't accept or respect each other because I know all the answers and you know nothing. And it's just that's the problem with the world today. And it's been the problem forever.
In fact, the biggest sin that God talks about is pride.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing.
No question.
I can take all these other things, but I can't take pride.
Well, pride leads to all the problems.
That's
Wanting money, wanting the pretty girl, wanting all the things that you don't necessarily need.
Yeah.
So although the pretty girl's nice.
We can never not want the pretty girl.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bruce McGowan. When we cut to the third and final commercial break, we asked this trivia question about baseball and the movies. This was an easy one. In Field of Dreams, what ballpark does James Earl Jones' character Terrence Mann go to as a youngster growing up?
Fenway Park.
No.
Yankee Stadium.
No.
The Polo Grounds.
No. What's the last one? Well, what's the last one in New York?
Oh, Ebbets Field. Ebbets Field. That's the one that's romanticized more than any other stadium too.
Well,
any other ballpark.
That one goes back to like 1890.
Actually, it was 1912. It wasn't around that long. 1912 to
1912 was Fenway Park also.
1912 was Fenway Park, right about the same time. The Dodgers actually moved in there about 1912, and they only played there 45 years. But man, the last 9 years, I think they went to 7 or 8 World Series.
They only won one, 1955.
Yeah, and then they moved and broke the Burrow's heart. That just was terrible.
And then a few years after that, my dad decided, nope, we're all going to California. But the funny thing is, he became a Giants fan rather than the Dodgers because we lived up in the San Francisco area.
And the Giants weren't about to move, but when the Dodgers moved, they said, well, we're losing a rival, and we're not doing too well either. So Horace Stoneham got, and it's funny, the story goes that Walter O'Malley got L.A. and the Giants got San Francisco. What a lousy deal. Now it looks pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we got the most beautiful ballpark in America. The Dodger Stadium was nice, but then, boy,
this AT&T Park.
Whew, yeah.
All right, so here's our thoughts for the day. The only way to overcome is to hang in. Even I'm starting to believe that, said Dan O'Brien. And to succeed, you need to find something to hold on to, something to motivate you, and something to inspire you.
I like that.
Tony Dorsett said
Tony
that.
Dorsett. Tony Dorsett's had some major health problems lately.
Really?
All the hits. Yeah, he's got that early dementia.
Oh my God.
I mean, he still has his faculties about him, but he's forgetful, and it's really sad. I mean, he knows he's going to be pretty much a vegetable in about 5-6 years.
Oh my God. How old is he?
He's 2 years younger than me, so he's about 60.
Really?
Yeah.
Dorsett?
Yeah.
Wow. I remember he played for Pitt.
Played for Pitt, and then played for the Cowboys, and they won. I remember his rookie year, they won the Super Bowl.
That's right. Okay, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and giving away more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long. Okay.